One of the biggest misconceptions about being a virgin in your 30s is that you are religious or saving yourself for a husband, but no one really knows what to do with you when you aren't affiliated with any particular religion and don't want to get married. LOL. The facts are, I believe in a higher power, and that's about as far as it goes. I'm humble enough to recognize I don't know everything. That doesn't mean I'm going to share my body with any old Joe Schmo, though, and being legally bound to someone through marriage is so not my dream. But would I do a committed long-term relationship should the right guy come around? Yes, I would. Stay tuned for part 7 in the series.
And then there's another one, Nick. We'll do that one, too. It's like a Instagram page.
You want the sound of me?
Yeah,
There she is, ladies.
no, you don't have to play it.
Yo,
I mean, it's
no
just
one higher standards than the.
no one has
thicker
higher.
skin.
Say this for us.
And no one has higher standards and thicker skin than a 33-year-old virgin. Radical feminists, so patriarchal. Ew, red pill bros, expired meat.
Word.
But it's true, though. It's like, I mean, I get it from both sides. You know what I mean?
No one has higher
Okay, so no, I'm
standards.
going to challenge this, right?
Absolutely.
I don't think it's true. I think that what you've created is a false dialectic, where you're paraphrasing what the position of each is, even though that's not actually the position. I don't think that any red pill bro would give a flying fuck under the sun that you wanted to retain your virginity due to the fact that you're just not attracted or asexual. I think instead the pushback you would get probably would be from the, quote, Christ-pilled bros who would just say, well, this isn't being done for the purpose of virtue, but just like due to quirks, right?
Yeah, I would say, I would just say going off of some of the comments from being on this podcast the last time, I would say that a lot of them were that I was expired because I'm in my 30s, although I don't want to have kids. And then I would say in terms of like the other side with the ladies, maybe like more the modern day feminists, I feel like I get a lot of that I have internalized misogyny, that I'm part of the patriarchy. It's like I'm part of the problem. So I do feel like I'm getting it from both sides.
Well, I think that there's a conflation which happened. I think that the conflation from the leftist side, the non-patriarchal side, is saying they probably assume that because you're promoting your chastity and virginity, that you are some kind of like right-wing patriarchist, and so they're probably strawmanning your actual position. But I could see that as being true. But the red pill version of it, I can't see as being true. I don't see why any red pillar on planet Earth would give a shit one way or the other if you retained your chastity based on asexuality. Though I do think that an argument could be made from their end that if they're saying expired, they just mean, well, what's the point in keeping the chastity if you get past your 30s and are unable to bear children? What would be the point of the allure for a man who wanted children? Which I think would be a fair point, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair enough. I think, obviously some guys aren't going to respect it if they want kids, and that's totally fair. I've been very open about the fact that I don't want kids, so I don't see the problem in it necessarily. But But I would say, though, I don't think that I have less value as a virgin because I don't want to have kids and don't want to be legally
Yeah, well, you would
married
have
to someone.
significantly less value to men.
Well, that's fair. I mean, yeah, men that want that, of course, that's
Well,
fair.
no. I mean, just most men
Because I don't want kids.
would be desirous of a virgin because of the paternal aspect of this, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that would lessen the desirability. I understand kind of the play of both sides of hitting both sides, but I don't see how a red pill position, and I'm no red pillar by any means, by the way, but I do understand the position. I don't actually see why they would give a shit one way or the other.
Yeah.
Well, and I think honestly, the criticism from the red pill would be that your standards are too high. I think that would be the criticism, not that you're expired.
But there's standards, right? It's just like it's asexuality. What standards are we even appealing to?
Well, I'm not full-blown asexuality. I mean, like I said, it's not that I'm asexual necessarily. I just am not attracted frequently to people. So I guess, yes, you could categorize it as that.
there's a lot of qualifiers going on here, which are really hard to navigate. I'm not really. I kind of am, but I'm not. There's a lot of like qualifiers to navigate this idea. So we can consolidate the idea.
Okay. let's consolidate.
Asexuality. I don't want to have sex with the opposite sex because I don't find sex and sexuality to be particularly appealing.
And that's where I would not consider myself asexual, because it's not that I wouldn't have sex with someone or find it
I'm
appealing.
not asking if you would or wouldn't, but generally speaking, you seem to stay away from it because it's not like it has no real import to you. Sexuality itself is not of great importance to you.
I want to try to be as honest as I can. I feel like
Yeah.
it's not that I don't see the value in it. It's not that I don't want to have sex, but I'm not going to just sleep with someone to sleep with someone. Does that make sense? So if I'm not,
Yeah,
We've already
but
established
that's
this,
though. Right.
diverting. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I continue, but it's
I'm
we've
just
already
saying, it
established.
feels like that's a real big diversion kind of away from what I'm saying. I'm not saying you don't see value in sex. I'm not saying you wouldn't have sex. I'm saying that your attraction to men is almost negligible. It's almost not there, and you don't find sexuality personally to be of great importance to you, or really of any importance to you ultimately.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, like I said, for the right person, yes. I don't really know what to say other than that.
Wouldn't every asexual person say that?
I don't think so. No, I think
If the
they're.
person came along, I wouldn't be asexual
I actually-
anymore. Like, wouldn't that be kind of the great cope of all asexual people?
Well,
I don't
that's what
think so. I think
literally
they'll-
goes back to what we were saying. Like, if you don't know what it feels like, then technically, like, you would be considered that because you don't know what it'd feel like to
Right.
be indifferent from that.
Right, exactly. And I also feel that a lot of people who consider themselves asexual are sex averse and know for sure or are grossed out by sex and wouldn't want to have sex. So I actually don't think that's
It's
true.
interesting. I've talked to several asexual people, male and female,
Mm-hmm.
and the universal that I found between all of them was the idea that if the right person came along,
Mm.
then I would probably break the asexuality, but they just never have.
That's fair.
And so I just don't really feel much in the way of attraction to people. But if I ever did, if suddenly I did find other people attractive, then I would. But aren't you just saying kind of the same thing? Isn't that really the same thing you're saying?
I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Wait, can we pull the article back up?
Yeah.
my article.
So it says in the article, so you're an only child, right? Can you scroll down, Nick,
Yep.
to kind of keep going? Keep going, keep going. Okay, this part, can you read it, Lauren, from here?
As an only child, Harkins learned early on how to be content on her own and never actively pursued a relationship. And while her friends navigated the ups and downs of young love, Harkins, it's funny to call myself Harkins, was dealing with the death of her father, William, who passed away when she was a teenager. Harkins now lives primarily off her late dad's trust fund and has enjoyed an action-packed life of travel and adventure, saying sex simply wasn't a priority.
So, okay, well, this changes the context significantly. So, sex for you has never had to be a tool of barter for resource, right? So, you're essentially a trust fund baby?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, then your interactions are definitely outside of the norm, right?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how that
Yeah.
changes.
What's the trust fund looking like?
What's the trust fund looking like
Oh, I mean,
now?
I spend a lot of money, so
It's what?
I spend a lot of money, so I don't imagine it'll be a forever thing. I mean, my
Hashtag
dad
life
wasn't a
insurance.
millionaire, so
Oh,
I'm an only child, but
he wasn't.
Only child trust fund
wait,
baby.
he wasn't a millionaire.
was not.
However, I would like to comment and say that I am sorry about your father's passing. That's awful.
Thank
I wouldn't
you.
wish that on anybody. That's a terrible thing. But let's
you. I
get back to the
appreciate that.
trust fund baby thing, okay?
All right.
So the idea that I mean, how is this not just basically all down to a series of quirks? I mean, it basically has to be, right? So you have this great big trust fund. You have no reliance on the opposite sex. You can basically live in your own world, free from the externalities of the world because you don't really have to live in it, right? I mean, have you even had a job? Have you ever really had a job? Like a real job?
Yeah, I mean, I worked in corrections for 2 years. I've done jobs. I would say that working in like the law enforcement field was the most fulfilling job that I've had.
Would you date anybody like?
No, hang on. I just want to clarify a couple things real quick. When you say I worked in corrections for 2 years, was it a part-time job?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I've never,
okay.
I've never had a full-time
I thought
job.
it might have been.
Yeah, 100%.
Thought it might
Wait,
have
you've
been
never
a
had a
part-time job.
full-time
I've never
job?
had a full-time job.
34, never
Yeah,
had a
never
full-time
had a
job?
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's true.
So your interactions with the world are extremely limited, right? You've never, I mean, all your jobs have either been part-time or just no job, right?
My interactions with the world are limited to the extent of jobs, yes.
Not just jobs, but the way that you engage with other people is going to be from an elitist set, right?
No, not necessarily, no.
I think necessarily. Like, how could you ever really understand the struggles that people go through? You've never had to deal with any of them.
I guess to that I would just say my friend circle is varied ages, different economic class, so I'm not friends with people just based on social class or.
Well, I'm not saying that you're friends with them based on their social class. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there's no way for you to internalize the same experience that they do because you've never gone through anything
Yeah,
like it, right?
Sure, that's fair. Yeah.
You're basically born with a silver spoon in your mouth, so your experiences are far and away different. This is actually interesting to note as well that that a trust fund baby with a silver spoon in her mouth, born with a silver spoon in her mouth, had an article written up on her about virginity from a secular worldview. Do you think there's any correlation there? Like, do you have contacts in media? Is that why that happened?
No, they reached out to me based on my social media. But I would like to clarify, when you said that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, I mean, I wasn't. I was raised, middle, upper class. I only have been able to afford my lifestyle because my dad passed away.
Yeah, but he
Does that
passed
make
away
sense?
when you were very young.
Yeah, I was 16.
Yeah, so you were very young. So no, the externalities of now having a huge fund of money, which is at your disposal, definitely shields you from the externalities of the world in a way most people don't get, right?
No, that's fair, yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah.
dispute that for sure, yeah.
Yeah. And let me just ask this one last follow-up question. If I were to take two boxes and just see which ones you filled the most, right? I'm not asking for which one you think you fit perfectly into.
2 watches?
But just the two boxes.
Boxes.
Just the one that we fill the most.
Okay.
If I put up the box for progressive or conservative, you would fill the progressive box far more than the conservative box, wouldn't you?
No, I don't think so. Would you only say that because I'm not traditional?
No, I would say that based on social issues, which I would assume that you would have. Look, can I name the social issues
Yeah,
and we'll see how
absolutely.
correct I am?
Yep.
When it comes to abortion, women have the right to choose.
I've always been pro-choice, so yeah, that's true.
Yeah, okay, so women have
But-
the right to choose.
but I would
okay, hang
say-
on, hang on,
okay.
hang on,
Yes,
hang
go
on.
ahead.
I'm not
Yes.
asking for the caveats yet.
Yes.
Okay. Social justice matters.
Social justice matters. I don't think I would check that one.
No, social justice doesn't matter.
I wouldn't check that box for myself.
Do Black Lives Matter?
Oh, Andrew's going deep with it.
It's not deep.
What?
All lives matter.
Okay. So, so moving to the next social, is equality important, and is feminism a product of its time, which was necessary to free women from the entanglements of the enslavement of the patriarchy?
At the time, in
Yes.
first wave feminism, second
Yeah.
wave feminism, yes.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Okay.
say that. I wouldn't say I have any value. I don't think that has any value
you're
today.
progressive through and through, progressive.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're asking me questions though that I would check more of the conservative box on.
Well, okay. Well, what is a conservative?
I would say, in a lot of ways, traditional, which I don't check that box with a lot of
Traditional,
things.
well, okay.
Traditional,
Traditionalism can be correlated, sure. But traditionalism meaning what? You wear like a fedora and a long coat, and you have a house where you have a mommy and a daddy and kids. Is that what traditional is, or what is traditional? What are these values you're alluding to?
Oh man. I mean, that's I guess, one way of looking at it.
What's the way you look at it?
How do I look at traditional?
Wait, are we
Yeah,
trying to
what
ascertain?
is conservative?
Are
I'm
we
just
trying to
asking
ascertain?
basically, what is conservatism? What is it?
You're
from
not
your purview?
traditional, though.
I'm
right?
not traditional.
She's not traditional.
But
I agree, she's not traditional.
Right,
I'm just
but
wondering
No,
I-
what
but she
that
says
means
it.
for
She says it.
Yeah, I'm 100% not traditional, but
I'm not saying you are. I'm just wondering what that means
and
to
that's
you.
okay. But in terms of conservatism, I feel like a lot of my values and the content I enjoy and the things that I agree with are more conservative than progressive.
Great.
So what's
Can you name one of
traditional,
those
right?
values?
Oh, I think that's what he's asking. Like, what's traditional?
Medical mandates, for one,
Medical mandates for what?
for
No, I don't.
like, yeah, I mean, I
I
don't,
don't,
bel-
I
I don't
don't know. I
believe,
don't know where that's. I don't even know what the hell that means.
I don't
medical
believe in
mandate.
medical mandates.
Oh, you mean okay,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for that. Okay, yeah, but that's not a conservative. There's plenty of progressives who never believed in mandates for lockdowns, for
Okay.
instance. So what is an actual conservative value you adhere to, a real value?
Second Amendment.
There's liberals who believe in the Second Amendment.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we just aren't seeing eye to eye on that one. I'm kind of a
So
balanced
guns and no
person.
lockdowns, and that's conservatism?
No, I wouldn't say that's conservatism, but I never claimed to be a true conservative. I just said, for the most part,
Okay.
my values are conservative leaning. But
I would say the opposite. I would say they're very progressive leaning. By the way, if you start off with I'm pro-choice, right? I
That's
think
fair.
that any other position you have behind that is irrelevant when it comes to the progressive conservative dialectic.